It's so tilted. Oh, it's tilted. Okay, hold up. Okay, hopefully now it's not tilted. Anyways, as you can tell by the title, we are going to be seasoning this 10-pound brisket. So first, well, we gotta put all the spices all together so we can mix it in order to put it on. So, what we got? So we got half a cup of Ground Sumac, which is, probably did not pronounce that right, but that's fine. I will describe to you what it is. It is an Israel spice made by Israel berries, and it tastes like lemon. So if you don't have this, you could also use lemon and paprika as a substance instead if you do not have Ground Sumac. So yeah, and so we'll put that into our mixing bowl, which is, I'm just using a big measuring cup, but that you can use whatever you want for your mixing bowl. Okay. And then we're going to use a 1/4 cup of smoked paprika. And I'm just going to use the same measuring cup that I used for the sumac because it's going to get mixed together anyways. So yeah. I could probably screw off the top, but that's all right. That's around 1/4 cup. Put it in there. Making sure the majority of it goes in. And then we're going to do 3 tablespoons of garlic powder. So yeah. 3 tablespoons, so it's this big one. So we got 1. 2, and then, well, we use the whole cup, basically. So, good thing my mom and I bought a new we bought a new batch of garlic powder earlier, so that's good because we just ran out. And then 3 tablespoons of onion powder. Why is it? Hello? No. Must have been sitting for a little bit. Yep, there we go. Okay, it's 1 tablespoon. 2. It's to be stirred again. And then 3. Okay. And then we just need 1 tablespoon of cayenne peppers. Okay. There. So we got all the spices in. And now we take our spoon and we just stir it all together so it's nicely mixed when we put it on the meat. So the Sumac is definitely going to overpower when you look at it like color-wise. But if you look at it, you could tell if it's stirred correctly or not. Yep. Oh yeah, like the bottom is not mixed in all the way, so we gotta make sure we're getting to that bottom layer. Ooh, that smells so good. All right, so once you have all your spices mixed together, you could decide to put on gloves if you don't want to touch the meat with your bare hands. Okay. And now that we have our gloves on, if you decide to do that, we are going to put 2 tablespoons of oil and just rub it on. And then before we flip it over to the other side and do the same thing, we will put salt in. The total amount of salt we are going to do is 2.5 tablespoons of it. And the salt that we're using is Kosher salt. And since it isn't like the other salts, like sea salt, we can use more of it. And then the oil as well we're using is 100% Spanish extra virgin olive oil. So yeah. So now we're just going to put a little bit, because make sure, a reminder, this is the amount for both sides of the meat. Okay. So we got it there. So slimy. Okay. It reminds me of slime. I don't know how much I like that. Now we'll put on our salt. Oh, that's a lot. Okay. Making sure that gets everywhere. Sliding it over. Okay, I might have put on a little too much, but like I said earlier, the type of salt I'm using, it's all right to put a little bit more. And then I realized it's also all on my gloves, so we gotta make sure that gets on the meat. Okay. And now we flip it to the more fattier side and dump the rest of our oil on here. Yep. Give it a nice massage. And then we put on the rest of the salt that we have. And if you need more salt because your brisket, the meat you're using, is larger, then go right ahead and customize it to the size of the meat that you do have. Okay. All right. So making sure we used all of that. And now for the sauce, the seasoning. Hold on, I'm deciding where to put this wooden spoon now. Okay, that works. For the seasoning, we're going to do 1/3 of it on the fatty side, just to make sure so when we're cooking it that all of the flavors like goes through the whole meat, and then we'll put 2/3 of a cup on the more meat side, and I'm also gonna put a little bit of the seasoning on the bowl where I'm gonna put the meat in later for it to marinate for the amount of time that it's needed to do so. So I'm just gonna pinch a little bit here and put it on the bottom right there. Okay. Now we're just gonna put 1/3 of that, like here. A little bit. There. Ooh, that smells so good. And make sure to like massage it into your meat so it gets in every area of it. And don't forget to do the sides of the meat as well. So yeah. This is going to be such a tasty brisket once it's cooked and it marinates for the right amount of time. All right. Time to flip it back onto the more meatier side. All right. And now we are going to put the rest of our seasoning. Here. Come here. All right. I'm just going to put this over everywhere. I could have used a little. I might flip it back onto the fattier side and put some more on there. Because it's a little bit too much on this side, but that's fine. You can always fix it. Or if anything, we can always put it into our bowl so it goes to use and it is not wasted. Okay. I'm going to flip it back over. Get some more on this side. And it's alright if you make a mess. Just make sure to clean up after yourself. Alright. Making sure it's all covered here. Making sure we're using as much of the seasoning as we could. Because let me tell you, the seasoning's going to make it tastes delicious. And now we're going to take our brisket, put it in the place where you want to keep it, the container you will be using for the meat to marinate. And then I'm just going to take whatever seasoning is left on here and put as much as I could into the container that I'll be using, which is a big mixing bowl. All right. And so this brisket is going to marinate for our recipe for anywhere from 24 hours to 48 hours. But I'm going to marinate it in the refrigerator for about 36 hours. So by the time it's Friday morning, I'm able to prepare it for the dinner for my grandpa. So yeah. And now, before we put it into refrigeration, I'm going to take off the gloves for the next part. Jeez, this reminds me of science class. Well, yeah. Okay. And now we are going to use some plastic food wrap to just seal our bowl. I'm going to do that about one more time on each side just to make sure it's all sealed up. Okay, this side actually looks pretty good. Alright, so come back on Friday morning where we're gonna cook it. And remember, you can leave this to marinate in your refrigerator from 24 hours to 48 hours. And we'll see y'all on Monday morning. Bye, y'all.